experimenting with the rig here and the cell phone and doing lives this way. I don't know if anyone is there yet or not because I just kind of jumped on using the cell phone, and I've changed the orientation this time, which I've tried before and I couldn't get it to work, but it looks like it's working now, and I'm in the office at the moment. The only thing that's messed up about this is it's harder to see, like, viewership or comment section or anything like that. It's harder to see. And again, I'm in the office. There's Monkey hiding. Hi. And no, those are not actually full of cat litter. There's Granny Smith. Here, have a fish. Granny Smith, everybody. Those are not full of cat litter. Those are actually full of comic books. They are roughly the same size and shape of a comic box, but a little bit taller. They're a little bit taller, and the boxes are like iron. You can't hurt them. They're actually better than traditional comic book boxes. They work better, oddly enough. Hold on, I've done something here. There we go. I'm having a hard time figuring this out. Okay. There's Monkey. Hi, Trouble. But yeah, I mean, for the roughly the same price as a traditional comic box, I get a box that's much better than a comic box. And it's full of 40 pounds of cat litter. Can't go wrong. Well, there's a bag with 40 pounds of cat litter. And where'd the comments go? The comments were there a second ago, and they disappeared. So I don't know if hold on a minute. As I still try to figure this out. There we go. I see Blue Splashes here and Pop Culture and Plastic. He says it's 2:12 a.m. in Australia. Okay. Well, glad you could join us. But primarily, and I don't know how many people are in here either because I can't see the damn thing. We're not really supposed to be looking at cats here. Oh, don't box with him. We're supposed to be looking at cartoon shows. Saturday Morning Gold, Saturday Morning Classics. As many of you who are familiar with the channel are aware, my wife and I, we have a rather large DVD collection. And that's why I'm in the office, because a lot of DVDs are in the office. That's all classic television shows up there. More classic shows here and more here. And this is where primarily the Saturday morning stuff is kept, as well as other types of cartoon media. If this will stay in focus, maybe I should open the window or open the shade so that it'll quit bouncing. A little bit more light in. And by the way, internet is still down. Internet, well, it just came back up at like 11:50. It was down from about 7 o'clock this morning. And yesterday it was down from about 6, just after 6 a.m. to about 4 o'clock. And it was down again today as they, quote, did more repairs. So we'll see what happens. I stepped on Granny Smith's fish. And now it's flopping. That thing actually smells like a fish too. It's the weirdest thing. Someone sent it to our P.O. box as a gift for our cats. And primarily Granny Smith is the only one who uses it. But that's mostly because she won't let anyone else touch the damn thing. And T. Stewart says you're missing Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, a super classic. Probably I am. But here's where the majority of the Saturday morning stuff is. Saturday morning and after school cartoons, after school programming in alphabetical order. And there is the 60s Aquaman. 60s Aquaman, the hero from the deep, surfaces in 36 classic adventures. So that would be like 2 seasons of Saturday morning. And what was this, 1967, I think? And this is so campy and hilarious. It's just fun. It just is. And Aquaman basically saves the ocean from either strip miners or pollution in every other episode, or somebody trying to take over Atlantis. And he's got Mira and Tadpole, Aqualad, back there. And Mira and Tad get like kidnapped or knocked out in like every episode. It's incredible. Tadpole probably has brain damage because like every episode a rock or a log or an anchor or something falls on his head and he gets knocked unconscious. Help me, Aquaman. And then Aquaman has to go bail his sorry ass out. His counterparts there are a pain in the ass. It's fun though. It's just fun. That's like 60s Saturday morning gold right there is what that is. And then we've got the Archies. This was fun. So you got the Archies show, the complete series, which was a 60s show by Filmation. And you know, if you watch this, um, you can see where they used the art panels from this as templates for a lot of their other productions in the future. But the Archies had a really long life. So you had the Archies, the complete series, which was a 60s show again. And then that morphs into Archie's Funhouse. Archie's Funhouse. Because Filmation kept this going for quite a while. They just, transformed it. And there you see it says bonus features with Sugar Sugar, the music video. And Sugar Sugar, of course, is a song that was made for the show that actually ended up going mainstream. But I've always been a fan of the Archies, and these are fun. They're just goofy, silly, fun cartoons. Again, we're in the 1960s there. The original Astro Boy, and this is a former library copy. The original anime, really, Astro Boy. The original anime. It says the original boy robot with 100,000 horsepower. Yes, indeed. I forget how many episodes are on this. I have not seen this in a long time. But yeah, you're quite literally looking at the original anime with this. Oops, and it's getting out of focus again. I don't know why that keeps happening. Don't know why that keeps happening. I don't know if anybody's commenting either, because this thing is wonky with the comments. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure. Okay. Just trying to make sure. I'll try to be mindful if something pops up. We just watched this one recently, and this is another 60s Saturday morning. 13 episodes on 2 DVDs, and that's Beetle Bailey, the Beetle Bailey show, based off of the original newspaper comic strip. This was funny. This was another fun show. This was another fun show. The original Beetle Bailey. This is a lost franchise. Nobody remembers Beetle Bailey hardly now. Come on. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's probably trying to pick up the background. It's probably trying to pick up the background. I wonder if I should turn another lamp on. Because I've got like additional lighting there. That might help a little bit. But yeah, this is another one I could recommend is the original Beetle Bailey show. Very cool. And then Marshall Bravestar here. This is, believe me, it is Marshall Bravestar. What happened is I don't have the box. But this is the complete Marshall Bravestar series, another Filmation show, and this is an after-school show. 64 episodes, just like Masters of the Universe. And it's a better show than Masters of the Universe. It only lasted one season. Action figures by Mattel, 9-inch figures, big ones. This was better. It wasn't as kiddish, let's say, as the original Filmation show. Cut that out. No. Leave her alone. She doesn't want to play with you. It's all right, Granny Smith. And who has joined us? I can't see it. Somebody just commented. Somebody just commented. But Brave Star is a much better show than was Masters of the Universe. And that was Lobo has joined us as howdy. Glad you could make it today. Sorry about the interruption there. They even had a couple of deaths on that show. Something that they never would have done on the Filmation, never would have done on the Masters of the Universe. There is a marshal who killed another marshal in one episode, and one boy who died of a drug overdose. Now these came from Goodwill originally, because I'll pick up discs everywhere. These are from the original shorts collection, and I only have like 3. I've got 1, 7, and 12. But these are the original shorts that they would show on like the Walt Disney show or other specials. And then I got Mickey and the Beanstalk there. Let me adjust this back up, because I got this on a harness. Mickey and the Beanstalk, classic short film. And then Dick Tracy. This is another 60s cartoon. And I saw this when I was a kid, but trying to re-watch it. And there's Robert. How you doing? No anime? Well, give me a chance. Give me a chance. We're going in alphabetical order here. This is hard to watch. I saw this and I was just like, I tried to watch it and I was like, ugh, this is terrible. And that happens, when you're a kid and you watch stuff and you're kind of brainless. And then when you're older and you watch stuff and you can analyze it better and you realize that whether or not a show is good or not for real. And Dick Tracy's not one of them. No problem, Robert. He says sorry, but that's okay. Dragon's Lair. Now this is cool. This is actually all of the animation from the video game put together in order on this DVD. And you remember, some of you are old enough to remember Dragon's Lair. It was during the big boom of the arcade game era, but it was actual animation. It was one of 2 machines that had actual animation. The classic Dragon's Lair. Star Wars Droids, which I have not had a chance to rewatch this, so I don't know if it's still good or not. I remember watching it when I was a kid. But there's Star Wars Droids. And this is hilarious. And this, of course, is the complete Droopy. All 24 of the original theatrical shorts. Now, when you were a kid, you probably watched this intermittently while you were watching, what was it, Tom and Jerry. And there's stuff in here they would never show today. Because remember, these old cartoon shows, they were not made for kids. These were movie shorts. They were meant for adults in the theater. And they were adapted for children in, after school programming or Saturday morning programming or whatever, but they weren't really meant for children. But yeah, Droopy I recommend. There's Dungeons and Dragons, which was okay. My wife couldn't stand it. She didn't like how they didn't really tell you anything. And of course it was very rushed. It was very rushed because they needed to wrap it up and they weren't going to get a second season, which is very common because most Saturday morning programs, They didn't last but one season. They're all one-hit wonders. Rarely did you get anything that went beyond a single season, like the Archies kept getting adapted to continue on, but this other stuff just didn't. This, however, did. Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. And this is volume 1 and volume 2 here. I do not have volume 3. I'm really not even interested in volume 3. Volume 1 and volume 2 are the classic episodes that were done with Bill Cosby. And this is the first 12 episodes, and then a 14-track CD with all of their original music. And the music's actually really good for this show. When they got to the third incarnation, and this is Filmation again, when they got to the third incarnation, which would have been volume 3 of this set, that's when they got rid of Bill Cosby, and they got rid of the music, and they replaced it with the Brown Hornet. And those episodes, they're just not funny. They're just not funny. And Robert says, didn't Archie have like 3 or 5 different shows? Yes, that's just 2 of them. That's the Archie's Funhouse and the Archie Show. But there were other incarnations. Basically rewrites done by Filmation. And some of the holiday specials, like the Fat Albert Christmas special, which is a real tearjerker, it's actually really well done. The Halloween special, which is really fun. And then the Easter special, which is horrible because it's straight up Filmation and it's part of the Brown Hornet era. It's really not entertaining. But the Halloween special and the Fat Albert Christmas special are gold. Now, somebody wanted anime. How about Guy King? And this is the Guy King episodes adapted from Force 5, which was an after-school program made up of 4 different mecha anime shows, big robot shows, and then Space Cateers would be on Friday. And man, I would run home to see that. That's classic after school. And this is another former library copy that I picked up. Sometimes when the libraries, they get rid of DVDs, man, they slap $1 on these things and just forget about them. And you can pick up some real amazing stuff that way. Also in the realm of anime, how about Gatchaman? And I have all 3 volumes. And this includes a lot of stuff that was never aired in the United States, because we didn't get all the episodes. But yeah, all 3 volumes. This one's faded. The packaging is faded, but I don't care. I've got it. Volumes 1, 2, and 3. And Gatchaman, of course, also known as G-Force or Battle of the Planets in the United States, which I recommend. This is a great watch. Excellent show. Lots and lots of episodes. Way more than you're aware of. Because I think this one only goes to... there might be I think there's a 4th volume. Actually. I think there's a 4th volume. I don't have it. Another classic 60s, George of the Jungle. George of the Jungle, which also has Super Chicken and Tom Slick. Saturday morning, along the same lines as Rocky and Bullwinkle, which we also have Rocky and Bullwinkle, but I think my wife has it with her stuff. George of the Jungle's hilarious. So is Tom Slick and Super Chicken. This is fantastic. This is one that I could watch again and again. And I've got the G.I. Joe. This is the G.I. Joe movie that was supposed to go to theaters and didn't because Hasbro had a change of heart after all the complaints about Optimus Prime getting killed. We do have the complete series, but it's with my wife's stuff in the other room. This was supposed to go to theaters because that's what they were going to do. They thought it would be a great idea to end all of their cartoon series with a movie that kids could go to the theater and watch, which is what they did with the original G1 Transformers. But then And T. Stewart says that Guy King is rare, out of print. Yeah, that's why I'm lucky to have found it as a library copy. But like I said, stuff like this turns up. I found Martian Chronicles at the library for like $1 on in their dump bin, something they were getting rid of. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. You know how? Look up Martian Chronicles and see how expensive that is. So we watched the original G.I. Joe. It's actually a pretty decent show. Great music. They really invested in the music on that, unlike Transformers, where they didn't. You can tell, you can see that the show is rushed. You can see that, you can hear that the music is badly done. Sometimes characters speak with the wrong voice. There's all kinds of continuity problems with Transformers that they didn't have on G.I. Joe, at least not as much. Although every once in a while you had a flub like Mindbender not having pants on and things like that. But yeah, this was supposed to go to theaters, and they changed it so the Duke wouldn't die because they were going to kill him. And then they never went to print with Jason the Wheeled Warriors because they were going to do the same thing with Jason the Wheeled Warriors. And it only got as far as the script, and they said, we've had so much trouble with these, let's not even do it. Robert says he has Gachimon, the first box, and the rest of the Battle of the Planets. And then this one, and I haven't rewatched this yet either. I haven't had time. It's Godzilla Volume 1 and 2 animated series from the 1970s, which, as I remember, basically it's a bunch of nosy kids that somehow have Godzilla's son with them, and they get themselves into a shit ton of trouble, and then they Godzuki calls Godzilla, and he comes and sorts it out. That's what I remember from this show. And both of these volumes only represent a single season. And Munin is here. He says, "Good afternoon, everyone." Oh, it disappeared. It's in the landscape. I finally got it into landscape mode, but then the comments, they don't stay up. Hold on. A live stream to go with my lunch, Munin says. It flashes on and disappears. And Robert says he has the Godzillas, but he doesn't have Series 3. And Munin sees Robotech. Yeah, you also see Gachimon and Guy King there as well. The Inhumanoids. This is volume 3 and 4. I don't have discs 1 and 2. It's a great concept, and I love the action figures from this. I almost have the whole series. But the show is so rushed. It was so rushed because it's basically a 5-issue miniseries, a 5-episode miniseries, essentially, is what it is. They blow through this, or was it? This one, no, this has 4 episodes, and I think the other one has. So it's a 2-week run. But they blew through this so quick, and they could have slowed down, and done a much better job with the cartoon. Is all I'm saying. Then we have another 60s. This is Hercules. Captain Haddock, you mean Harlock? No, I don't have Captain Harlock. Mighty Hercules, another 60s show. And this one is fun too. This one is a blast. No, I don't have GoBots either, Robert. This show is a blast. This is fun. It's fun. It's campy. It's another one where Hercules has a bunch of friends who are like worthless, and he saves their butts all the time. Only he uses like a power ring. You see his ring? That's where his power comes from, his power ring. But that was a fun show, and the theme song, the guy who sang that theme song, he poured his guts out. You got to give it to him. Then we got some more of the Disney classics. See, Small World of... Oh, you can't see. Small World of Fun. And these also came from the library. Munin says anything Captain Harlock's hard to find. Incomplete sets here. I got 1, 3, and 4. Classic Disney shorts. And then King Kong the Animated Series, another 60s cartoon, which I vaguely remember, but I have not had a chance to rewatch this yet either. But, you know, my wife and I, we have all the time in the world. And we watch a couple of episodes of two selected cartoons every week. Or no, more than that, because right now we're doing the Berenstain Bears, um, Berenstain Bears, Star Blazers, Rainbow Bright, which is a surprisingly good show. I thought it was going to be stupid as hell, but it's actually a lot of fun that we're watching right now. And then here's the Looney Tunes collection, and this is volumes 1 through 6 of all of the Looney Tunes shorts, uncut. All of the Looney Tunes shorts up to volume 6. And you know what's funny about these is, and this is an older series. I forget when this series came out, in the early 2000s. At the beginning of the video, at the beginning, what you know, opening credits, there is a disclaimer that is presented by Whoopi Goldberg apologizing for if there's anything offensive. It's like, shut up and start the cartoons. I'm not offended or I wouldn't have bought these. I mean, seriously. It's movie shorts from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. And again, you know, people complain, oh, well, you know, they're children shouldn't watch this. They weren't written for children. They were adapted for television later on because they had ready-made cartoons. Of course, here is the Masters of the Universe collection, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And I've got the complete series, Season 1 and Season 2 there. And this is a fun series. It's kind of silly at times, and there's things that happen that can be a little annoying. But for the most part, this is a really fun series. Although, again, I'll argue that Brave Star was better. Brave Star was a better show. This lasted 2 seasons. I do not have She-Ra. I do not have She-Ra. But I do have the complete Masters of the Universe run there, which I can recommend. We just finished watching that like last year. Last year, Masters of the Universe. And I've got the Christmas special. Hour-long crossover. He-Man and She-Ra. And then a little bit of Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse it's tough to find. They say over 2 hours, Mighty Mouse and other cartoons. What they mean is like 2 episodes of Mighty Mouse and a bunch of other junk you never heard of. It's very misleading. But it's hard to find Mighty Mouse. And then the New Adventures of Batman. New Adventures of Batman. And this is a 70s show. And this had the original Burt Ward and Adam West doing the voiceovers for it, which added a lot to that at the time. And Robert says, Masters confuses me. I think I have the whole cartoon, but not sure. Yeah, it's 128 episodes altogether. Two after-school seasons, because an after-school season back then was 64 episodes. This is fun, though, with Batmite, and Batman can't stand Batmite, and he's always insulting him. I have Robert says he has the 200X series. I have it too. It's not in here, though. It's not in here. This is a fun show. This is a fun show, too. I could recommend this one. That's where you get Green Catwoman from, I think. And New Adventures of Superman, which is a 60s show, which is also kind of fun. Really silly and fun. But it goes along with the 60s Aquaman. Now that is the complete Pink Panther cartoon collection. It's all the shorts and everything else is in here. And I haven't watched this in forever. I haven't watched this in forever, but this was a lot of fun growing up. The Pink Panther series includes all 192 episodes. Wowzers. That one was on for a while. And then the Saturday morning Planet of the Apes. What was that, 1974? I want to say. And this is, or 75, 1975. And this is what the Mego Planet of the Apes action figures are based on. Is no, the Mego Planet of the Apes action figures I think are based on the live action version. Robert says he has Superman 2, but he had to buy it twice because the DVD didn't play. It might have been, was it in U.S. Ratio? It might have been a foreign ratio. This was a really good series, and it was set up for a second season, and they didn't do it. But this was a really good series. My wife and I enjoyed this. And then we got the Popeyes. I got Popeyes Volume 1, 2, and 3. The earlier Popeyes, the really early stuff, it's not that great. That was back when Popeye was just like Superman, and there was no spinach involved. And I think they came up with the spinach concept to give him a little bit of a flaw. But I think that when they came out with the Sinbad the Sailor color movie short, that's when Popeye really jumped off. And this is another dying franchise. Popeye, I mean, there's still, Boss Fight Studios makes Popeye action figures and whatever, but that franchise is essentially dead. And then Steelbox Real Ghostbusters Volume 1. I don't have any more than just Volume 1 here. It says 30 complete episodes, so that's an after-school series. It was an alright show. And then here you go, the complete Robotech original version. The original. See? Macross Saga, Masters, New Generation, and then Extra. Robotech Protoculture Collection, digitally remastered. This is another one I wanted to run home from, or run home to, after school to watch every day. And let me see, what was that? Munin says, "True, you hardly hear anything about Popeye anymore. A lot of these franchises have died, and they're just hanging by a thread. Nostalgic people are interested, like the Shadow or the Phantom, characters like that. But for the most part, Dick Tracy, it's just people that are nostalgic for it. But for the most part, those franchises are dead." There's Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Another 70s Archie. Another 70s Archie. Because I said 70s, but actually the very first, that Archie show, is a 60s show. And then Archie Funhouse was a 70s show. But then Sabrina also came out in the 70s. And yeah, the Archies, Filmation made a ton of Archie's programs. And that's just a Saturday morning cartoons Hanna-Barbera mashup that I picked up at the library. I'm not even sure all what's on it because I haven't had a chance to mess with it. And then that's Scooby-Doo meets Batman. And I'm not a big Scooby-Doo fan, honestly. I'm really not. I never was. And then Silverhawks, which was a cool show, and it was well done, and it falls in line. It's in the same universe as Thundercats. And then one of my all-time favorite Saturday morning, and this is the Smurfs. And it still holds up, and my wife and I rewatched Smurfs not too long ago. this is just classic fun. The Smurfs are amazing, and they're funny. The show's funny, and it holds up. And then there's the Smurf holiday special. And let me see, I saw the comment there. It flashed. Like I said, the comments flash on, but it doesn't let me actually, I got to be quick to glance on it. And Dawn says, do you like Star Trek, the animated series? I like it. It had the original actors doing the voices. I prefer it to the original show. And Robert said that Robotech all three generations. Yes, from the original all three generations. I do like the animated Star Trek. It came out at the same time, roughly, as the Planet of the Apes, and the animated series Star Trek is what the Mego action figures are based on, and they got everybody back except for Walter Koenig. They ran out of money when they got around to Walter Koenig, so Filmation kind of dropped him, and they replaced him with that guy that had 3 arms. And it's Speed Racer, and it's just a collection of episodes. It's not the complete series. And I remember watching this when I was very young. And then this is classic, and I highly recommend it. Schoolhouse Rock. This is the complete series, including the unaired episodes. And what's this? Munin says, did you know that ADV... Oh, it disappeared. Hold on. I'll look it back up in a second. It's including episodes that never made it on the air because they dumped the program. They dumped the program. But this is a great series. It's fun music. It is educational, and I highly recommend it. And that's when we get into the Star Blazers. That's Star Blazers, the original series. One of my all-time favorite animes. And then Series 2, The Comet Empire. And Series 3, I have it, but it's not here because my wife and I are currently watching it. We're currently watching the Bowler Wars, Series 3. And let me catch those comments here real quick. It says, did you know the ADV Films, the company that produced those Gotchimon DVDs, went under years ago? No, I wasn't aware of that. And Robert wants to know, what about Mutt, Bangface, Thundar, Captain Caveman? Yeah, I used to watch that stuff, but again, I'm comparing, with the exception of Scooby-Doo, which I was never into. I watched a lot of that stuff, Captain Caveman and whatever, but you have to question whether or not it still holds up in the modern era. Would I watch it and enjoy it now, too? Like the Smurfs. I could watch the Smurfs all day. Robotech. Great stuff. Star Blazers, the Looney Tunes collection. Except for the really early stuff that, is... the really early stuff that is, silent. Some of it's not very good. And David says no 90s DVDs. Yeah, I just haven't gotten around there. We got a lot. It's a lot more than just what's in this shelf. Fraggle Rock, the complete series. I love Fraggle Rock. Most of what Jim Henson produced, I'm a fan of. Most of it. And the okey doke with Fraggle Rock was, it was being released. This is 5 seasons, okay? It was released 1 season at a time, and it stopped with season 4, and then the company shut down production. And then they released this box set 2 years later. And then everybody's like, well, shit, I bought seasons 1 through 4, and I got to buy the box set to get 5? Yeah. Yeah. That's what happened. But there's the Fraggle Rock box set. And Dawn says Pirates of the Dark Water. Oh, jeez, it disappeared again. When it's in landscape, the comments just don't stay on long enough. This is a collection of classic commercials, 50s through the 80s. Mostly 50s and 60s, but yeah. we get lower here, and I'll see if I can pull that comment back up real quick. And, okay, sorry about that. I got a warning that said phone is warm. I guess in landscape mode it's using more power and it heated up. So there's an interruption there. Hopefully you guys are still with me, because that was like almost a minute that it was down. I took the phone cover off, and it cooled off enough, I guess. There's your Star Trek the Animated Series from the 70s in a little tricorder box. And many people have argued that it was better written than the original series, the original 60s series. And I can see that. I can see that. And this was a fun show. One season, Saturday morning, in the mid 70s, 1970. It's Starzinger, 8 years, which was the 5th installment after school. And I always hate how she manipulated them. The Super Friends, of which I only have 2 volumes. And this is one rare exception of Saturday morning cartoons that continued to run season after season. Again, most of the time they just kind of dropped. But yeah, the Super Friends. See, volumes 1 and volumes 2. Although I got to tell you, I much prefer the Legion of Doom volumes to later series, like when they brought in Jane and Xana, and they tried to make it all funny. Try to make it all funny and goofy, and I'm just like, ugh, give me a break. Give me a break. There's the Fleischman Superman. And you can't see any of the imagery. This is the 40s Superman shorts. These are so well done. They're amazing. They are so well done. The artwork, the continuity, the stories, the fact that Superman don't like Lois. Fantastic. I really recommend the Fleischman. Turtles Volume 6, and that's the only one I have. I don't have any of the other Ninja Turtles. I haven't seen it since I was a kid anyways. The 60s Thor, Saturday morning, 13 episodes. Munin wanted to know if there's other ones that I'm looking for. I'm looking for like the 60s Spider-Man, 60s Fantastic Four. I'm looking for volume 2 of Silverhawks. Some stuff like that. But that's the complete Saturday morning Thor. Iron Man and Hulk, 60s. This is a fantastic series. And I'm a big fan of Tintin from Hergé, who wrote comic graphic novels titled Tintin about the adventurer. He's a boy detective, or a young man detective. And these are French Canadian. And it's 10. No, is it 10 or 20? I'm getting mixed up here. It's 10 episodes of the, based on, and Leo says cool collection. Thank you, Leo. And who is this? Because I got to be careful, because the things fade so quickly. Darren from Minnesota again. Glad you could make it. He says interesting content. I try. The episodes, they didn't do all. I think there was like 22, 23 volumes, but some of them have been banned because of controversial content. They selected 10, and they did 10 episodes, 1 hour long episodes. Story-wise and imagery matches perfectly to the books. Flawless. So you could read the book, and this is one of the things I did with my son to teach him to read. We would read the book, and then when we go and watch the show and see how well it matched up. And they're perfect. Perfectly matched up. It's a fantastic example of transitioning from like a comic format to a cartoon. The Complete Thundercats, 2 seasons, volumes 1 through 4, and I love the Thundercats. My wife and I watched all of these together. Big fan of the Thundercats. Not too much you can say about Thundercats that people don't already know. Tom and Jerry Spotlight Collection. And I've got a volume in the living room, so they're not all out here, but these are the original shorts that were adapted for television. And there was a big controversy with these because the people that produced the discs changed the voice of the homeowner. You remember the person that owned the house is a black woman, right? And she had kind of a stereotypical voice, but it was realistic. And when they changed that voice, man, people were pissed and they protested and they had to re-release the disc with her on it. And Spike is here, says loves Tintin. Tintin's a great choice. And Munin says, considering the types of cartoons you collect, where do you shop to consistently find them besides eBay? Amazon. Because, you see sometimes I've got used copies here. I don't care. But yeah, Amazon comes up with this stuff a lot too. Here's volume, is it volume 1? Which one is this? Collection 1, Blue Lion. Steel box of Voltron. I don't have the rest of the series. I only have the first box. And I actually found this at like a yard sale. That's why you see the tin's kind of beat up. But I don't care. It's a start. I've got one. Woody Woodpecker, volumes 1 and 2. I bet you didn't know there was that many of them. And rewatching this as an adult, he's really freaking annoying. It really is. I want to see him get his ass kicked, which he does on a couple of occasions. There's a couple of times where he gets the crap pounded out of him. Dr. Seuss specials. Cat in the Hat. TV specials. Green Eggs and Ham. The Lorax. Grinch's The Cat in the Hat. The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings television specials. I think these originally aired on CBS in the 70s. These are fantastic. The Complete Uncensored Snafu. Complete Uncensored Snafu, which these are actually animated shorts that were played for military personnel that were done by Dr. Seuss, that are very adult oriented, like cartoons warning you about messing around and catching syphilis and stuff like that. This is some pretty pretty serious entertainment. And I'm sure if you're in the military, you know what snafu stands for. And my Peanuts collection. And I love the Peanuts. Peanuts 60s. These are all the 60s made for TV specials. All the 70s made for TV specials. 70s Volume 2. And a bunch of other miscellaneous Charlie Brown shows and specials through here. Happiness is a Warm Blanket. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Snoopy Tales, Team Snoopy, and so on. Let me catch up a couple more comments here real quick if I can. Dawn says the animated Hobbit is like comfort food. Yeah, it's so well done. And the action figures from that were made by Knickerbocker are insanely expensive. Lee says he loved Jason and the Wheeled Warriors. Yeah, that's a good show. And unfortunately, the show never ended because, and I was talking about that earlier when I was showing G.I. Joe. Munin says, interesting stuff. Most of these cartoons are well before my time. And Darren says, situation normal, all blanked up. Yeah, blanked up indeed, instead of the F-bomb. But yeah, Jason the Wheeled Warriors was supposed to get a film adaptation like Transformers and G.I. Joe, and they canceled it. So you never got to see how it ended because they were going to kill Jason's father at the end. And that was in the plot, and they were like, all right, we already killed Optimus Prime, we already killed the Duke, and had to alter the ending so that you didn't know the Duke died. And we're not going to do Jason the Wheel Warriors. Forget it. So you never got to see the ending. You can find the script online. Rankin Bass Christmas specials. You can't be without these, guys. There's Rudolph, Frosty. I've got a bunch of these. You know, the one that's actually hard to watch is The Little Drummer Boy, because it is a straight up drama. It is not humor oriented like the other ones. There's nothing funny about Little Drummer Boy. It's very sad, actually. Got some British ones there. There's Father Christmas and the Snowman. The Snowman is also very, very sad. And there's, except for the narration at the very beginning, there's no speaking in the entire Snowman. And there is a song that is sung in the middle of it. Father Christmas ties in with this, but you almost can't tell how they're connected. This is very sad, and it's really about the death of innocence if you watch it. But it's a good watch. It is a really good Christmas special. Bunch of Christmas specials down here. Opus, A Wish for Wings at Work from Bloom County, Opus. I recommend that as well. That's a cool one. Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. There's one that a lot of people have forgotten about. Emmett Otter, Jug Band Christmas, another Jim Henson Gold Star production. This is fantastic. And Bunin says, why would they make a Christmas cartoon? Oh, it faded out. Hold on a second. This is fantastic. This is so fun. And it's got such a great moral to it at the end. And Munin was saying, why would they make a Christmas movie sad? Defeats the whole purpose. Well, I guess to give a better appreciation for the focus of the holiday. But yeah, you'd have to see it if you've never seen it. Shaun the Sheep, including the Christmas specials. Shaun the Sheep is the same guy who did Wallace and Gromit. Shaun the Sheep is hilarious. This is good stuff. As well as Wallace and Gromit, the complete collection. Which the first time I saw Wallace and Gromit was in like one of those local artsy theaters in the 90s. Some live action. Arc 2, the complete series. Who remembers this? And this was one of those rare live action Saturday morning shows. And the vehicle was real, and the jetpack on the show was real. This guy, see, he's wearing a jetpack. It's a real jetpack, and they really flew it. It was ahead of its time for a 70s Saturday morning program. Another random Mickey Mouse. This is an old Mickey Mouse Club best of kind of thing, isn't it? Funicello. Another library copy. And then Bozo. And I'm sorry, I love this show. This is the East Coast Bozo, because there were more than one. This is the East Coast version of Bozo, the one I'm the most familiar with. This is the one with Carol Spinney before he went to Sesame Street. I'm sorry if I'm bouncing a little bit. Remember, this is a neck rig. This is, and that might actually be Carol Spinney in here, because he was always in costume on the show. So you never actually saw him. But he went from this show to Sesame Street. And this is 2 volumes of the East Coast version. And this show is nuts. Yeah, Blue Splash says, yay, Bozo. Yeah, the show is nuts. It's absolutely freaking bonkers. Because it was done live. So when they messed up, they messed up. Spinning plates, you break half of them. Yeah, we're live. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. That show was hilarious. More live action. There's a lot of live action down on this bottom row. The Bugaloos. The Bugaloos, Sid and Marty Krofft, classic. Great stuff. Lots of crazy people in costumes. Best of the Electric Company. See, there's Bill Cosby right there. There's Morgan Freeman. Best of the Electric Company, because there's too many episodes to put on disc. You'd have like 100 discs. There's no way. But great stuff. The real Ghostbusters, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen it. This is, Darren says, hopefully he didn't stay in character 24/7. Oh, Bozo, I hope not, because that'd drive people crazy. This is the real Ghostbusters. This is the 70s Filmation live action Saturday morning Ghostbusters that the movie is based off of. This is where Dan Aykroyd got the rights from Filmation to do Ghostbusters the movie from this show. And you see Larry Storch, you might remember him from F Troop. Excuse me. And this show holds up. Excuse me again. This show holds up. This show is funny. This show is funny. I can recommend this. It was only one season, Saturday morning, live action. Just get my cup here real quick. Grab a drink. You can see my my little record player set up down there. My record player, my comic book presses, stuff that I do. But yeah, a lot of people aren't even aware that there was an original version. And then later on, they got into a dispute with Ghostbusters about the Filmation version versus the theatrical version. And so when they came out with the Filmation re-released their property as the Ghostbusters Saturday morning. And that's why when they did this, they called themselves the real Ghostbusters, because they were having disputes with Filmation at that point. Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. I used to watch this when I was a kid, another 70s live action. And I have the action figures from Kenner, although they never made the girl. And the actors, Sean Cassidy and, what was the other guy's name? Sean Cassidy and, I can't think. They couldn't act to save their lives. She was a good actor, though. Someone will tell me the other guy in the comments. There's Isis, live action Saturday morning on CBS. And I need the Shazam. I don't have the Shazam, but I do have, obviously, the Isis. HR Puffin Stuff, which is absolutely bonkers. And the boy has a talking flute. Talk about tripping out. I'm going to get in focus here. There we go. But I love all these Sid Marty Krofft, like, Saturday morning live action bits, even though they really didn't last. Only one of their shows lasted more than a season. Jason of Star Command. Who remembers this? And that is Sid Haig as the villain with one of the greatest maniacal laughs in television history. That is Sid Haig. And yeah, that is James Doohan right there. James Doohan from Star Trek. Again, that's a 70s live action show. Lancelot Link, we're back to the 60s here. A lot of people have never heard of this. Lancelot Link, secret chimp, excuse me. And they would literally, they had this group of chimps and they would dress them up and they would just, chatter with their mouths, but then they would do voiceovers like they were really talking, and he was a secret agent. It's like if you can imagine Get Smart, but with trained chimps. Really bizarre show. And he's part of the Ape unit, Agency to Prevent Evil. Yes! Acronyms, everybody. You thought it was just for the 80s. And Darren says Parker Stevenson. Yes, thank you. And Jeff is here. He says he's still trying to hunt down the Ghostbusters mansion in good shape. That, yeah, the Filmation Ghostbusters toys are very difficult to come by. And Munin says, I have a feeling your DVD Blu ray collection is a whole lot bigger than just that shelf. Yes, it is. This is just mostly animation and, Saturday morning and after school animation and stuff is what this is primarily. Land of the Lost, the only Sid and Marty Krofft live action show to go past a single season. And they blew the third season because they fired Dad and replaced him with the kid's uncle, allegedly. And it was the same actor um, who played one of the characters in the live action Planet of the Apes show. I forget which one. But yeah, and this was a fun show, and it's the only Sid and Marty production that was a drama and not a comedy. But man, this is classic. It really is. And then one of the weirdest ones they ever did, Lidsville. Lidsville is insane. It's absolutely freaking insane. And this is like 1972, I think this was produced. They got a lot of slack for this show because even the name, because they say Lidsville, will you really flip your lid? But flipping your lid was drug terminology for dropping acid, and the show looks like it too. Show's nuts, and it's all hats, by the way. The kid this hat grows to this side, and the kid is being nosy and falls into the hat because he's snooping around after a magic show, and the hat gets real huge and it swallows him up, and he lands in this world where the people are all hats. Yeah, that happened. Power Rangers season 1. And of course, the Power Rangers are all adaptations of Japanese shows. This is the first season only. And then the Muppet Show, which I've got volumes 1, 2, and 3. I don't think that they ever made volume 4. And they had the same problems that a lot of franchises had. And that was that, and Darren says he has to go back to work. They had a problem that a lot of franchises had with the fact that there's so many guest stars that all the families, they want a piece of that pie. And they end up not being able to finish anything. They had that trouble with WKRP with the music. They had to re-release WKRP with the correct music in it. They had that trouble with the 66 Batman. And Munin says they used to watch Power Rangers in the 90s as a little kid. Green Ranger was their favorite. In Japan, they're known as Super Sentai. That's right. So I think they never got to Volume 4 because they just couldn't work it out with a lot of the actors and actors' families for all the guest appearances, which is just really kind of sad. This is going way back. New Zoo Review, 59 episodes. Season 1, the New Zoo Review. And this was digital. You see it says press here. There was actually a little battery compartment in here. When you press this, you would hear the New Zoo Review music. And it's, a puppet land kind of a thing, but people are in costume. It's fun. It's fun. It's good for kids. I think this was like a 1972 production also. A lot of people, they see this and the bulbs come on and they're like, holy crap, I think I saw that. Pee-wee. Pee-wee's Playhouse. You can't not have Pee-wee's Playhouse. Volumes 1 and 2. Before he got in trouble and the network shut him down because they were embarrassed because of why he got arrested. although he swears he didn't do it, that he just took the plea deal so he could avoid jail. Old School Sesame Street Volumes 1 and 2, including the original 60s productions. It has also the pilot episode. Volume 1 has the pilot episode. It has the introduction. Rolf was actually the mascot. Uh-oh. Rolf was the mascot. And he introduces it. Sid and Marty Krofft, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, which was a cool show, first season. I think that had a second season, didn't it? I'm trying to remember. Space Academy, which is a continuation, and yes, that is the guy from Lost in Space. Space Academy is connected to Jason of Star Command. I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute, as I'm almost done with this shelf. Jim Henson's Storyteller, brilliant show. Although it's 2 volumes. One is Greek mythology, and one is fairy tales. The fairy tales one is better. Red Baron. I know Munan's loving that one. Red Baron, the complete series. Voyagers, the time traveling kid, which I used to watch this when I was little. And then Who Knew We Had It? The Weird Al Show, Saturday morning live action, exactly the same kind of format as Pee-wee's Playhouse. And Ron says Storytellers is being released again as a complete set soon. That's good to know. But yeah, this is kind of like Pee-wee's Playhouse, but people don't even remember that he had a show. But hey, there we are, guys. All finished with these shelves, but there's plenty more to go. Plenty more to go. They're all up here. They're everywhere. We got them in the living room. We got boxes. We love our physical media. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you got something out of that. Maybe something that you saw there reminds you of something you used to watch or inspires you to find it. Something that you've never seen before. Like Miss Kitty. Hello, Miss Kitty. Hi, darling. How are you? And maybe we can get a chance to do this again sometime soon. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. And we'll catch you later.